It's built into the name, man. It's built into the name.
We're Unready. It's what we do. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, we are live. Welcome everyone
So
to the
fast.
Unready room.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a couple weeks. I apologize for not being able to do an episode last week, but we're here this week to talk about 2 episodes and probably some other stuff. I don't know.
Maybe. Maybe.
Any
It's not like anything happened in Trek this week.
I don't not that I can think of anyway.
Yeah, it's been kind of sparse on the announcement front. Kind of just,
Nah, I'm sure something will come to us though.
yeah,
I'm
maybe.
Dan Gunther. With me, of course, Brandi Jackola. How's it going this week?
It's been a week, and let's just leave it at that.
Oh yeah, I hear you. Same here. Yeah, and hi everybody in the comments. We're really happy to have you here, and of course, everybody who's watching later, we appreciate you as well. Thank you so much. And yeah, seeing some regulars in the comments. Very, very happy to have y'all here. Yeah, and 2 episodes we're going to talk about. First, Con-tact. I'm never sure how to verbalize that hyphen in contact, but
Contact.
yeah,
Contact.
yeah.
Con.
And then
Con. Or con! Not that con.
no, not
Contact.
that one. No. But yeah, it's a double header of Trek puns or Trek word plays, I guess. Anyway, because we have first Contact and then Time Amok, a play on Amok Time from the original series, of course. So
Which has nothing to do what happened in Amok Time.
no, not at all. They're just borrowing the title for like a fun little switcheroo. So yeah,
Radio.
absolutely. So how do we want to do this? Do we want to talk about that trailer before we talk about the Prodigy episodes, or do we want to save that for later, or what do we want to do? I've
Let's
made no
ask the
plans.
chat. Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, chat. What would you prefer? Do you think we should talk about trailer and things first, or should we talk about Prodigy first?
Yeah, and we're not gonna no scientific process. We're just gonna see what
Mm.
people say. Maybe the first person to suggest, maybe the 10th person. I don't know. We'll just
Yeah.
see how y'all are feeling.
And while we're doing that, shout out to Patrick Carlin, who is unfortunately not able to watch tonight, but is listening.
Oh,
So he just can't participate in the chat. So
okay.
he is with us, just unable to actually view.
Mhm.
That work thing.
Ah, work. Gross.
Yeah,
Well,
I know, right?
Patrick, we're happy to have you here. However, you'll be here, so
Yeah.
that's exciting.
Okay, we have a
um,
vote for doing the trailer first.
that works for me. Let's talk about the trailer.
One person spoke up. We're going with it.
Sure, that works for me. So I've really only I normally on my channel I've done like these really pick apart the trailer, go through each thing, and I haven't had a chance to do that. And I looked at my schedule and I'm like, when would I have a chance to do that and get it out? And I'm like, Monday sometime, and everyone else has already talked about it by then, so probably not going to do that. So I've only watched this trailer just a couple times, and I've not
Same.
paused and done all that stuff. I have seen a few things online though, which might be fun to bring up. But first impressions, man, does that ever look good? I was blown away by the trailer.
Same. And I'm just going to out myself right now. I think John Delancey as Q with a goatee is like one of the sexiest things I've seen from Next Generation ever. So yeah, I am here for goatee Q.
Right on. Well, that key art they released, that was like the black and white photo of the two of them, Patrick Stewart and John Delancey in character there. That was incredible. Like for a Star Trek series, what a really cool piece of artwork.
Yes, it's beautiful. And black and white is, people are like, oh, color, but things in black and white have a different energy to them. And I think that was the right way to go for this particular picture.
Yeah,
So,
for
yeah.
sure. Well, they released like a square version of it too. I'm assuming probably because of Instagram and stuff.
Mm.
But I was like, this looks like the hottest new album of 2022. Like,
Doesn't it though?
hmm
Doesn't it? Yes, very,
but
very, I love it. Yeah,
yeah.
so much in this trailer, like, it's all jumbled together in my brain. That is how I felt both times that I watched the trailer. I'm like, "Okay, now this time I'm going to pay more attention." Nope, nope, nope. Just letting it all hit me in the face. Just boom, 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 boom. That's what this trailer
hmm
felt like.
Yeah, it really, yeah, there's a lot in there. So like the tech geek, the people who like the starships and stuff, we start out with the well, not the La Serena, because I always start saying
Yes.
the and then I'm like, wait, that's not gonna work.
Yeah,
It
La
starts with
Serena.
La Serena being chased by 3 starships, and I've seen stills of this online, and those are 2 Nova class ships, like the
Mm,
Equinox from Voyager, and what
okay.
looks like a Steam Runner class ship, which is one of the background ones from First Contact and made its
Mm.
appearance in Deep Space Nine and stuff. So everyone who is asking for, like, oh, all the ships look the same, blah blah blah, they got some different ships, and there's some like classic designs. Well, classic to us now designs, I guess, but that's pretty cool.
Yes. So many pretty things in this trailer. So many
Hmm
things. I there's it's so disjointed that you can't really get a feel for what is actually going on, and I think that's purposeful, of course. Um, because I think that were they to give us any more of any of these clips, it would be spoilery.
hmm
So, the
Yeah,
fact
for
that we
sure.
could even put a trailer together with anything that's not spoilery
Yeah,
is a credit to them. So,
for sure. So was it just me, or did it look like they were doing like a slingshot maneuver around the sun? Right? Because
I
there's
really
some
hope so because that would just be a lovely call out to TOS.
that was pretty cool. That was neat. We've got the Borg Queen in here. It looks like she has something to do with the time travel aspect.
Terrifying with those black eyes. Ugh.
Hmm Yeah, the
Ugh.
makeup job on that. The nice update, I thought, for that. She looked really
Agreed.
good. Good as
Definitely.
in terrifying and horrific, but
Which is as it should be. The Borg Queen
absolutely.
should not be cute or pretty. The Borg Queen doesn't need those things.
Absolutely. Uh we get Guinan. That's kind of the big
Yes.
thing, of course.
I
And
shrieked. I literally shrieked out loud.
so did you notice that the bar that she was tending was number 10 Forward Avenue, which
Yes, isn't that cute?
I thought that was very cute. Very nice. So there's a couple thoughts about this, because my initial thought when I first watched the trailer was that this was in the 21st century, that Picard had sought her out. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's so cool, because she first met Picard in the 18th century, and then, when in the 24th century, eventually met him again and had all these adventures and stuff. But then now this is taking place before that, because, so I was having like a real Dr. River Song vibe, where it was like
Mhm.
they're just interact at different times. But and I don't know, it could be all disjointed shots in different times or whatever, but somebody pointed out that in the bar scene there's an Andorian. So that might not be the 21st century. That might be, you know, a bar in on Earth in the 24th, 25th century, wherever Picard is now. Um, so yeah, that kind of shot that, but I was so excited initially that like, ooh, some cool timey-wimey different, and I mean that might still happen, so that's cool.
Yeah, well, I kind of just assumed it was in Picard's current time just because
Hmm
she knows all their history, and
Yeah.
I know that she's different, and I know that she has a very long life, but I don't think she's capable of remembering things that haven't happened quite yet, so I don't know that that's for sure if that's true, but it seems like because
hmm
when they met in the 18th century, she's just like, "Oh, so you know me, okay, well," and she
hmm
just accepts it because that's certainly possible with her lifespan.
Yeah.
But, you know, she didn't act like she knew all the adventures they'd been on. So
Okay. I
I
didn't
just kinda yeah.
again, I didn't watch the trailer too closely, so I didn't remember her bringing up their old adventures and stuff. But if she did, then
Well,
that
I
doesn't
I
make
don't
sense, I guess.
I don't necessarily know that, but it just feels to me like this Guinan is from the same time as
Hmm.
the show was originally set. That's my
Yeah,
personal
and I
opinion, that's what I got from it, so,
yeah,
yeah,
and the Andorian in the bar, like I said, tells me that
that too.
for sure.
Yeah.
But I kind of hope now, though, that I've thought of that, that they do meet up with Guinan in the 21st century because of just all the
Oh,
weird,
please. Yes,
like
let's
that would
do
be so cool.
that. I mean, you can have Guinan in both centuries.
Hmm.
Let's do it, man. And I'm
And
just like, "I just talked to you about this."
exactly. And to everyone out there who's complaining about this, yes, Whoopi Goldberg has aged. That is what people do. It doesn't matter. It's people playing roles on a show. Like, I'm not too concerned if Guinan looks older than she should because she's supposed to be hundreds of years old. It's fine. It's fine.
I'm sorry. Do you all know how old Whoopi Goldberg is?
And how incredible she looks. Like, she
Yeah.
looks like she hasn't made aged much.
So STFU is what I have to say on that front. I think she looks
Exactly.
magnificent. So,
Absolutely. And Aravic, thank you so much. Very much appreciated. And yes, Guinan is back. I like the double duty that the whoopee is serving there in your message. Very nicely done.
yes.
Yeah, very excited. Very, very excited. And yes, thank you. Oh no, Guinan aged. Heavens, right?
Yes, women are useless after 35, didn't you know?
Apparently.
Mhm. After that, they start to wither and fade. Men get more distinguished and women just get old.
Hmm. And Wellington, yeah, right? Like, I have seen the comments though where people are like, well, Guinan shouldn't look that much older because blah blah blah. Well, you know what? Sorry. Like, I don't know what to tell you. This isn't a documentary that is showing actual events in the 24th century. If it helps, think of it as a stage play. People play characters. It's fine.
If that is the thing that bothers you the most, maybe you don't understand Star Trek.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Yeah, yeah, that's the thing. And the thing is, like, the people who are complaining about things like that are going to complain about anything and everything that just happens to be some low-hanging fruit that they feel they can criticize. So
Mm,
whatever, let them have it.
yeah. Yeah. Well, I feel like it's just so short-sighted. It's like, how can you make that kind of statement? How do you think you're gonna look at her age?
Hmm.
Not as good as she does right now, I can
Nope.
promise you that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
um
people.
so yeah, I've been seeing this as well. 2024 seems to be the year that they're going to here. And of course, that was the year of the Bell riots, as seen in the Deep Space Nine episodes, past tense parts 1 and 2.
Mhm.
um I don't know about the Pa Wraith idea. That's interesting. Like, we did get that tablet in that first trailer, so maybe. But that's a little out there. I like that. I like out there theories. That's fun. But yeah, interesting. And there was somebody else mentioned it as well, that there was some signage somewhere talking about sanctuary districts. So
Mm.
the creators of the show are very well aware of where they're putting it in the timeline as well. So there's probably some tie-in somehow, for sure.
Oh, I'm certain there will be.
Yeah.
There has to be. They didn't just arbitrarily pick this year for them to
Nope.
go back to. So, there's a reason for everything they do, and you may not think that there's necessarily always going to be a connection, but they always make the connection. This
Mm-hmm.
I have learned.
Absolutely. Anything from the trailer? Again, I just watched it twice really quick. Anything that we haven't talked about that people are clamoring to talk about in the comments or anything like that?
There's honestly so little information given in this trailer, even though it's like a minute and 43 seconds-ish.
Mm-hmm.
There's still so little information that makes sense. It's
Mm-hmm.
kind of like having a disjointed dream that jumps around in time, and you wake up going, "Ah, what did that mean?" I
Mm-hmm.
mean, just yeah, there isn't they're very good about not giving us enough to hang on to while completely whetting our appetite and making us drool.
Yeah. There's an
Interesting way to
interesting
go about it.
Yeah, there's an interesting shot of Picard, and he's got a Starfleet badge on his he's wearing, and it they said it was like an homage to the Star Trek II The Wrath of Khan style badges from there going forward, kind of like a modern update of that. And there's been some speculation, is that Picard in the prime timeline or like the regular timeline? Has he rejoined Starfleet after his adventures in season 1, or is this maybe one of a number of different altered timelines or something like that? So
Well, this is how I'm looking at it because Q says, "Welcome to the road not traveled."
mhm,
So anything is possible at this point
yeah.
because they're basically creating a different reality with their actions, or Q is anyway. But it's Q. He can snap his fingers and it all goes back to normal.
Hmm.
It's just,
But
who knows?
apparently our heroes have to jump through the hoops and do it without Q just snapping it fixed
Of
because
course, because I think that's why this whole thing starts is that Q is giving Picard a chance to do something over, it feels
hmm,
like,
it's
to
like
change
a
a past
season long
mistake.
tapestry or something.
Yeah, but he should have learned his lesson in Tapestry, right? So I
Yeah.
don't think it's that kind of thing.
Well,
I just don't know.
yeah, it doesn't feel like it's something in Picard's life. It feels like it's
No,
something in the
something
21st
else.
century that
Yeah.
goes awry or something.
Hmm.
Erevic, yeah, we talked about that a little bit at the beginning. It does look like that's what they're doing. They're slingshotting around the sun, like in Star Trek 4. That would be pretty cool. That would be a nice callback.
Yeah, they shouldn't have as much trouble getting to the speed that they need to these days because they do
True.
have something better than an old Klingon warbird to get them through it.
A Klingon flea trap, as Bones called it. So,
Yep.
yeah. Um, yeah, I don't know. I'm really excited. March 3rd. I can't wait. Uh, I'm I'm kind of bummed that it starts before Discovery's over and they're overlapping 3 episodes. I kind of wish they weren't doing that, but that's okay. That's okay. Just more to
They're
talk about each week.
they're overlapping 3 episodes?
Yeah,
I don't think so.
yeah.
Because there's
Picard comes back March 3rd is what they announced.
right, but Discovery comes back February 10th.
Yeah. So its final 3
And
episodes will be March 3rd, 10th, and 17th.
no, isn't there only 4 episodes of Discovery left?
No, it
There's
shouldn't
f-
be.
there's 4. Pretty sure there's 4 left.
Okay, well, if you look at the schedule, they're overlapping 3 episodes, and then
I'm
the
so confused.
the Picard season 2 finale overlaps with the Strange New Worlds premiere. So it's kind
Which
of get
they've given me for my birthday. I wanted that so much.
that's pretty cool. Um, yeah, they are. I've looked at the schedule numerous times because we've had to report on it and stuff on Positively Trek. TJ, as he says here, they are indeed overlapping 3 episodes. So 6 episodes left of Discovery. So that makes
Okay,
sense.
that is not what IMDb says. It
Oh, but
says
Don't trust IMDb, trust Paramount Plus, who put out the schedule.
I'm not sure that I do, because Paramount Plus has buggered it up before.
Okay. I mean,
I don't know.
Discovery has 13 episodes, and
I thought it was only going to be 11 because that's what they announced way long ago, but whatever.
okay,
I'm happy to be wrong.
they announced this week that they posted the whole schedule. So
Yes, I realize that. But what I'm saying is that's not what they said in the beginning. So
okay,
we'll
well,
just leave it there. I'm happy to
I
be wrong.
I apologize then.
You do not need, don't be a Canadian right now, Dan. There is
let's
no need to apologize.
let's just move on. Let's talk about Prodigy here. So we've got 2 episodes of Prodigy to talk about. We've got First Contact. I still don't know how much of a space to leave there.
It's okay. Just say Contact. It's fine.
And I did see somebody was asking in the comments the reason for that. And Bruce and I talked about it in last week's Positively Trek, and I edited that conversation down because I realized how stupid I sounded talking about it. And I was like, well, I think it's because the Ferengi, oh my goodness, I've already forgotten her name. Nandi shows how much respect I have for her. I was like, oh, she's a criminal. Maybe she's an ex-con. So it's First Contact. She's a convict. And then Bruce is like, oh yeah, because she's pulling a con. And I was like, well, yeah, obviously that makes way more sense. So I sounded ridiculous, and I edited that all out to make us sound much smarter. Yeah, she was pulling a con. So it was a con. She was conning them. So
yeah. Yes. And the interesting thing is that on the title card of the episode, it just has Contact normally, but on the screener title and in other titles, it's got the hyphenated. So somebody dropped the ball somewhere, which is why I don't 100% trust Paramount.
And what's really funny is the version that got sent to CTV Sci-Fi and Crave in Canada was correct. The title screen in the opening credits says Con-tact.
Oh, interesting.
They did say, Kevin and Dan Hageman, one of them tweeted that that was a mistake on Viacom CBS's part as to what went out on Paramount Plus in the US, and it should be updated to be the correct title at some point.
Good. I am glad to hear it, because that's the way I first saw it. Was on the screener, it says the title of each episode, and so it said Con-tact, and I said, well, there's gonna be a con in this one. And I was not disappointed.
Definitely. Well, yeah, so this episode, I'm gonna right up front say it was probably my least favorite of the season, which is not saying that it was a bad episode by any stretch. I really enjoyed it, but it was just a little step down from everything we've gotten elsewise, I think. But I really enjoyed it, and we have Nandi, who in the strictest tradition of Star Trek, in the big coincidence, happens to be nearby where the protostar winds up, and Nandi was someone who raised Dal after he was lost his parents or was separated from his parents at some point, and yeah, clearly did not treat him very well.
Clearly, and yet he thought that she did, because that was really all he knew. He didn't know the difference. And that's sad.
Really sad, yeah.
That breaks my heart.
Absolutely. Yeah, that was one of the big things that I got from this, is like, over the course of the episode, you see like, oh, where he slept and all this stuff, and you're kind of like, this seems like it was pretty terrible, but to Dal, it was normal. That's how he grew up, which, like you say, is so sad. And by the time we get to the end, I'm jumping all over the episode here, when she goes like full mustache twirly and like, I didn't you weren't kidnapped, I sold you into slavery, and ha ha ha, and she's so gleeful and happy about it. And like, talk about taking the one last thing until Dahl met this crew that he's a part of now. But before that, the one thing that he kind of clung to as something good in his life and just like snatching that away. Probably for the long run good that veil was lifted from his eyes and he saw her for what she is, but at the same time it's just like, man, just this kid can't have anything.
Yeah, well, like Gwen said, at least he knows now who his real friends are.
Mm-hmm.
His found family, as it were.
Yeah, absolutely.
I know that people have complained that about this episode being, oh great, we're back to the typical Ferengi behavior. Yes, but don't you find it interesting that it's coming from a female?
Mm-hmm.
Which is not something that's typical, because it wasn't until fairly recently that females even had the right to wear clothes.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
I find it interesting that this particular Ferengi is like, well, I'm going to live the life of a male, something I never got to do. That's kind of just the feeling I get. And so she just gets her own ship and she takes off.
Mm-hmm.
And she starts doing stuff just as good as any male Ferengi, like almost like she's got something to prove to herself. I don't think her character's that deep, but anyway, I just I'm creating layers that could be there but probably aren't, because that's just the way my brain works.
No, I like
So
it, and yeah, I've seen complaints about her being the typical Ferengi, whatever that is, and at this point and stuff, and I just don't see it necessarily that way. I see her as flawed and horrible as she is as an individual, and I'm like, well, this Ferengi is like that, like some other Ferengi we've seen in the past are. Uh, I never like. I don't know. When I see Boimler do something, I don't say, "Well, isn't that typical human behavior?"
yeah,
Like that
exactly.
just no, that doesn't, So I don't know. Yeah, she fulfilled some of those stereotypes, but some Ferengi will do that, I'm sure. And the fact,
Yeah,
like you said, that she's a female Ferengi does add an interesting layer to it as well.
yeah, and the thing about Ferengis are, well, we've seen a Ferengi scientist
Mm-hmm.
in Next Generation. So there are other Ferengi. Like there was Beckett's friend who was a Ferengi, who was just,
Mm-hmm.
just normal guy, just playing a part to make Mariner look dumb so that Boimler would have the, feel good about himself for saying, no, this guy's a con artist. We're not doing this. Get out of here. So, just helping him get his self-confidence back, which that's a true friend right there.
I loved him. He might be one of my outside of Rom and Nog. He might be my next favorite Ferengi.
Yeah, pretty cool
Sorry, Quark.
Ferengi. Yeah, sorry, Cork. Well, if we're ever gonna pick a favorite Ferengi, mine is going to be Rom every time.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
no disrespect to Nog, of course, because Nog isn't even a Ferengi in my mind anymore. But
Hmm.
even though he is, but you know what I'm trying to say. No, you don't.
I gotcha.
Let's just move on. I'll stop running off at the mouth.
I gotcha. I gotcha. I get what you're saying. It's because his leg. No, I'm just kidding. No, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
How dare you, sir?
Totally intentionally, completely missing the point. I apologize for that.
Oh, no, that was great. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Absolutely. Well, yeah. I see people are talking about their favorite Ferengi in the comments now, and I'm like, yeah, it's probably Rom. It's Rom it's Rom by half a lobe. I love Nog though. It's that's tough. Anyway.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um
There's a lot to love there.
so great.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this episode, one thing I want to talk about also is the aliens that we get to meet and how
Yes.
they're realized in this animation and stuff. I thought they were just beautiful and really cool, and I just wanted them to learn more about them, but of
I
course.
agree. I agree, but now they've done irreparable harm.
Ooh, yeah.
uh, uh, uh,
But they left a communicator, and we all know that when you leave a communicator behind, like that's fine, right?
Nothing ever bad happens to that. With that, it's not like you have to, it changes history or anything or the future. Never, never
No,
has that
no.
been an issue ever. At least, uh, well, they seem rather peaceful and don't seem to be. Uh, well, that's the interesting thing is like, why do this first contact thing when it doesn't seem they have any ships or are capable of warp drive or even want to go anywhere. So basically, they're breaking the Prime Directive with that one.
Yeah,
But
just to get their hands on a crystal, I guess. For
yeah,
oh, Nandi,
yeah,
Nandi, whatever. Mm,
I guess that you could say it either way. Just yeah, just I
no.
said it. Nandi is probably Nandi. I don't remember.
I think it's Nandi. I think I said it wrong.
It doesn't
um,
matter.
no.
It's all good.
I want to. The weird part is, I want to learn more about a Ferengi spit plate. Like, what is that
I do
for?
not. I do not. I do not want to know. The only way that I can make that something in my brain that doesn't gross me out is like a plate that you put under a spit over a fire.
Oh,
Then I'm okay with it. But if it's a plate for just spitting, no thank you. I don't need to know anything else.
no. Okay. Yeah. Um yeah, I don't know if there's much more we want to talk about with regards to this episode. I guess we get some revelations that it was Dreadnought who was invading the ship. That was in that episode, and that Nandi is going to contact the diviner with regards to the protostar, because there's a reward out for them. So
Yeah.
that's ominous.
Yep. Yes, it is. And I
Yeah.
wonder if this was just a bit of a, hey, what's the easiest way we can get them caught or, identified by the
Mm.
diviner? A Ferengi. They have big
There
mouths.
we go.
I'm not saying that
Yeah, for
they don't
sure.
have big mouths. I'm just saying that one who is
This
avaricious
particular
would,
one does.
yeah, yeah. I'll just leave it there.
Yeah. Any final thoughts and a rating for first contact?
This one.
I'm gonna do it different every time, just because it's so awkward.
Just really got me there. Sorry. I'm not sorry. A good laugh is really good. Oh, good. Thank you for that, Dan. Thank you.
You're very welcome. I'm just going
I
back
appreciate it.
while you talk to find ratings too here.
Yes, I don't really have much else to say. I felt really bad for Dal when he got betrayed because there was a part of him that knew it was coming because he was basically prepared for her to betray them. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like they should have better protected the Chimerium. Like there's
Yeah.
poor Rock and her lack of a filter, you know. She just is too
Mm-hmm.
young to understand. You know how kids are. They just say whatever they're thinking. And we as adults don't do that anymore because adults have very ugly thoughts and I wouldn't want all of those things to be said. So
Mm-hmm.
I would probably give this I don't know, I guess one spit plate. Spit plate.
Ugh. Um.
Yeah.
Ugh, 7 lobe cleaning devices. Buh. Um.
Ooh, okay, there's something worse than a spit plate.
Apparently.
Uh, uh.
Yeah.
Nasty.
I enjoyed it. Like I said, probably my least favorite episode of the season thus far, but made some learned a lot of interesting things about Doll, and uh, really fascinating looking species that we get at the end. That was kind of cool. I love that kind of showcase of the animation and that sort of
Mm.
thing. Yeah, I'd probably give it I'm going to say 3 out of 5 crystals that get returned, and hopefully give Starfleet and the Federation a good name in the long run with this species, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Here's hoping.
Yeah, 6 hanging crystals. Yes, kind of. I'm seeing lower ratings than past episodes, so it feels like this one. A lot of people really liked it, but it's kind of, yeah, finding a little less love with the statistical spread of, I don't know, something like that.
Yeah.
No. Well, let's talk about another fun kind of pun title, kind of play on an old title, Time Amok, which has nothing to do with Amok Time, but is still a fun little callback. This episode, I feel like I'm going to completely flip the script for what I was saying about First Contact.
It's never not going to be funny now. You made it funny.
Because wow, was I ever blown away by this episode. And there were moments in the episode, and my wife can attest to this. Brandi, you came up in conversation because I was like, if I'm feeling like this at this point in this episode, I'm thinking it probably wrecked Brandi. And we'll get to
Completely.
that for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Oh
Much
man.
crying. Mm-hmm.
First of all, I guess what I have to say is, when I first saw the description of the episode, my mind went to the Voyager episode Shattered, which it occurs to me you probably have not seen yet. Um, it's an episode of Voyager, and I kind of hesitate to bring it up sometimes because I feel like a lot of people really love that episode, and I really do not.
That's okay. A lot of people hate Threshold, and I don't. So there we go.
Threshold is like Spock's brain to me. Like it's just, all my opinion, of course. It is just not a good episode, but
Oh, no, it's
boy,
not.
is it fun to watch.
Yes, exactly. I fully admit it is not a good episode. That does
Mhm.
not keep me from liking it.
Yeah, and same with Spock's brain. Like, not a good episode, but boy, is it fun to watch. It is a heck of a lot of fun to watch. There
Yes.
there are episodes that aren't. And The Children Shall Lead is a terrible episode and awful to watch. You know.
Yeah, I honestly I haven't watched that one in probably 7, 8 years.
Oh, it's so bad.
Oh, it's
So
really
bad.
just
But this episode, man. So okay, yeah. So Shattered Voyager episode, and I'll spoil it a little bit. I won't give away the ending or anything, but in that episode, Voyager encounters an anomaly in space and gets split into different time zones. And in that case, what it means is different parts of the ship are set in different points in Voyager's history.
Mm.
So if you walk from one section of the ship to another, all of a sudden you're back in season 3 when the Kazon took over the ship, and you're in, you're before Voyager launched in this part of the ship. Makes no sense to me because those things occurred thousands of light years apart, and I just, like, when I start to think about that, my brain hurts, and it just does not make sense. And it's one of those things you just have to get past to enjoy the episode, but I have a really hard time getting past that because I just anyway. Some
That's
interesting,
fair.
yeah, there's some interesting stuff in it, and maybe I'll try watching it again and just put that aside. But when I read the description of this episode, I thought, like, oh, that's kind of cool if they run into the same anomaly. And my brain started spinning all these things, like maybe we'll see part of the ship where Chakotay's still in command and we'll get some history of what happened and all this stuff. But they didn't do that. and they impressed the heck out of me because they did something different with time in Star Trek, which at this point is hard to do. And what a cool concept. I really enjoyed that part of the episode.
I agree because there's going to be a time anomaly, time travel episode in every frickin' Star Trek series. It's just a given at this point.
Mm-hmm.
But the way that they do this one, they are coming at it from an angle that really hasn't been done before. It's a new take on a temporal anomaly, and it
Mm-hmm.
just is perfect. It is perfect. I will hear no argument.
I will give you none because I really enjoyed the conceit of the episode. And
Yeah.
even like there were some technobabbly bits that I was like, "Ooh, that's some grade A Star Trek technobabble to kind of obfuscate, any kind of semblance of this making, sense in real world science." But that's Star Trek. Like that is part of Star Trek too. Like that's
Yes.
a thing in Star Trek, and they did it very well here. Um, yeah, sure. Like from the moment of the disaster, the sine wave goes out, and this part of the sine wave means time moves really fast, and this part means it moves really slow. And then as it goes, it gets closer to real time. Does it make sense? Probably not. But what a great way to like explain everything and create the environment in which the episode's going to take place. I thought that was really clever and really fun.
I agree. And honestly, who says it can't take place? The amount of information we have about the universe is sitting at about 4%. So I'm pretty
That's
sure.
generous.
Yeah, that's according to Neil deGrasse Tyson. So,
Okay.
and I'm just talking about the universe. I'm not even talking about
Mhm.
just our galaxy, the universe. So, there is a lot of stuff out there that we can't even conceive of being possible.
Mhm.
And until we are able to evolve and progress and become receptive to learning things that we didn't think were possible, which is kind of what humanity does if we manage to survive the 21st century.
Mhm.
No telling about what will come during this century, but anyway, I just feel like I'm just kinda open to it. It's like what we know now, judging Star Trek by what we know now is kind of ridiculous
Mhm.
because that's the whole point of science fiction is taking what's possible now and taking it to the extreme and seeing where it could possibly go. So, it's fine with me. It didn't bother me. I'm like, "Yeah, okay, sine wave. Yes, I understand sine waves. I learned about those at
Yeah.
school."
Yeah.
So,
And I guess like kind of similar to you, like not only did it not bother me, I just thought that was the cleverest thing. I was like, that's really
yes,
cool. I thought that was
yes.
great.
It's just like everything about it was just different from anything we've seen before. It may have echoes of things we might have seen in the past, but this was just new. It was just new. It was fresh and genius. Genius,
Mhm.
I think. I
Yeah.
can't say enough good things.
So yeah, each of the characters is kind of existing at a different point in on the ship that's moving at a different rate of speed. And I thought that visualization of it too, in the circular plane, right? Because
Mhm.
we all know, and I'm going to bring up some ancient technology here, folks, from my childhood and childhood of many of you. The record, right? The record spinning on a record player, the outside has to move faster,
Mhm.
in order to go the same distance that the inside does. And I thought that was a really cool visualization. And Janeway, however, can move in between the different periods, and each character. So we have Jankum, who's going the fastest. Ship immediately blows up, and then Rock Talk moving the slowest. And Janeway at the beginning says, "To you, it will feel like an eternity." And that was an interesting line where she says, "Luckily to you, it will feel like an eternity." And I was like, I feel like this is going to be not so well, luckily for the whole ship, but I feel like not so much luckily for Rock Talk, and they
Yeah.
explore that a little bit. Yeah. But yeah, really cool. The little bits of humor and revelation in the episode too, like, well, we're gonna see whoever's on this one can help us out here. And she turns around and it's Murph, and he's like
Mm.
regurgitating some piece of equipment. It's like, oh no.
It looked like part of a metal pipe or a boot or something. I'm not really sure.
Something.
Is it a mag boot? I don't know. I didn't pause to check it.
Yeah. um I'm looking forward to the Murph episode. I really want to learn more about Murph, but
Right? Why is
not.
he indestructible? How do we know he's a he?
Yeah.
Does he, I mean, just the way he acted like he was talking to Janeway. Does he have a language and the universal translator just doesn't
Hmm.
understand it? I want to know these things, and they'll probably never give them to us.
Very likely never. No,
Hmm.
not ever.
Yeah.
I guess I should comment a little bit about the holographic simulation at the beginning of the episode too. That kind
Oh,
of
yes, yes.
starts us off, because that was really fun. The riddle, how do you get the fox, the chicken, and the bag of grain across the river on a boat? Because the fox will eat the chicken and the chicken will eat the grain. That was kind of a fun team building exercise thing, and they should listen to Zero.
Yeah, well, Dave and I were just sitting there going, so you take the fox and the grain first, and then you come back for the chicken.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Because like, there's nothing saying about leaving them alone. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe that's a thing, you can't leave one of them that will run away alone or something. But then you
Yeah,
have
but
to do
that's the
that
thing.
later. So I don't
You
know.
leave, you see, that's the thing. You leave a person with the chicken so the chicken doesn't run away. There's
Hmm.
5 of them. They should be able to go ahead and, one person takes the fox and the grain across and then comes back and then they take the chicken across.
Yeah.
Was there another answer that I'm missing? It's possible.
Yeah. I saw somebody explain it that, like, but it seemed way too complicated because I thought of yours as well, right? And they said, like, oh, I can't even remember it. It was I don't know. You ended up having to bring one back, and then I was like, but why? Anyway.
No, you don't. You don't. Chicken, stay. Fox and grain, go. Come back for chicken. Done.
Nah. You can, well, if you can only take one thing at a time, that makes even less sense, because then you just
Yeah,
take
because it's really easy. You just take the
yeah.
grain, then you take the fox, then you take the chicken.
Oh, but then you're leaving one and it's eating so that doesn't work either.
Well, they were
I don't know.
holding the animals. That's the
Yeah.
thing. They were holding the animals.
Well, I mean, that's not part of the riddle, though. The riddle, if you.
Yeah, I get that. But at the same time, at no point did she say you could only take them one at a time that I heard.
Yeah, I didn't
Did
hear
you
that
hear that?
either. No,
Yeah, that's not what she didn't say that.
no.
I was paying attention. So, yeah, I was
Ah.
just
But I did enjoy that, and that was nice to see them in that environment too, with that kind of, just a nice summer day. Them kind of, I guess at the beginning, not enjoying each other's company. They're kind of a bit of a mess, but when they revisit that later, and Rock Talk's watching kind of the replay of it on the holodeck, that was really
Mhm.
sweet. That was a really cool moment.
Yeah. Yes, it was. Mm.
Mhm. All right. Well, so let's get back into this time anomaly. The ship's gonna blow up. Uh and Rock Talk, I felt really bad for her, of course,
Oh,
that
it broke my heart.
she was, being told that the ship's gonna blow up unless she does this, and she just, sends Janeway away. And that was the first kind of like, oh man, that's tough on a kid kind of thing. And then, but later, gonna jump again kind of to the end of the episode here. She's in the longest running period, right? So it's kind of up to her. She has to build this thing, and um, activate it and save the ship. And one of my favorite things the episode did was the revelation, was how they revealed that she had built the thing. Like,
Mhm.
they kind of, you get the impression that time has elapsed. We have that long shot of the ship and she's saying that she can't do it and that sort of stuff. And then we see like all the dishes piled up of all of the meals she's eaten, which are again just that same gruel that they got at Tars Lamora, which is heartbreaking in and of itself. But she manages to reactivate Janeway after Janeway's been deleted. And the virtual camera pulls back when Janeway says, "But if you've already built the device," she pulls back, "why did you need me?" And she says, "No one told me where to put it."
Yeah. The one thing they forgot to say. Well, and the thing is, we've seen this device built a couple of times, but Rox looks the best. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
it's not got any weird angles, it's compact, it's all shiny and new together. She did a great job on that because she spent the equivalent of years and years teaching herself what she needed to know.
Mm-hmm.
Which just goes to prove, if you tell yourself you can't do something, well, then you've already won that battle. You definitely can't. And she decided that she was going to be able to do it, and she did what was necessary.
Yeah.
And it only took her how many tries to get Janeway back? Over 200. You see little hash marks on a window behind her of all the
Yeah.
tries that she's made.
Oh man.
Oh.
Um yeah. Okay. TJ, yes, there's a couple of comments that I want to talk about
Mhm.
here. First of
Yes.
all, this was one of my favorite moments because Apollo
Mhm.
13 is one of my favorite all-time films. This is a film that I have watched so many times. A, I've seen it so many times, I know exactly how it ends. B, it's a real life event that I know exactly how it ends. And every time I watch it, I'm on the edge of my seat at the end of the movie. Like, I'm just like, are they going to make it?
I've seen this 50 times. Is the ending still going to be the same?
I know, right? Not only that, it's a real life event.
Mm.
But yes, and the device when it's built even kind of looks like the scrubber they built in the Apollo 13. I was like, that was beautiful. Um,
Mhm.
Second of all, I think with the that riddle, let's go back to the riddle again. I think the original riddle, I think that's right now that I think about it, you can only take one thing at a time. And that was they didn't mention it in the episode, I don't think, but this was the solution that I had seen. And if that is the case, you can only take one thing at a time. This is the exact solution, and that makes sense. So take the chicken, come back, grab the fox, leave it, take the chicken with you, leave the chicken, grab the grain, leave it, go back, get the chicken, which is ridiculous because apparently your boat only has room for one thing, but okay. It's a riddle. It's a riddle. They don't make sense. It's fine.
That's just a lot of energy wasted, in my opinion.
Work smart, not hard, my dad always said. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
but TJ,
Yeah.
yes, that is the solution that I had seen, and that was the missing part. I think was they hadn't said you could only take one at a time, but if you can only take one at a time, that makes sense.
Yes, that does make sense. Because that really confused me both times that I watched this episode. I'm like, why is this a conundrum for you guys? I just
Mm-hmm.
didn't get it. So,
Yeah. All right. Crazy. All right. So yeah, I do have to say, and I'm gonna completely admit, I was tearing up, and yeah, this episode made me cry.
mhm,
Absolutely.
mhm. Mhm. Both
Have
times.
you Brandy, have you watched Encanto yet? The new Disney film?
No, it's on my list.
Okay. I won't.
I know the music's by Lin Manuel Miranda, so I'm going to have a tissue, actually
Oh
a box of
yes.
tissues
Oh
nearby.
yes.
I know what to
Um,
do.
I will just say, I won't spoil anything, but I will say there's a character in the film whose uh the kind of journey or the kind of thing that she learns a little is like she's very close to Rock Talk in the
Mm,
expectations that are put on her and what she herself wants out of life. And I was like, I love that in two pieces of media that I've seen recently that are ostensibly written and produced for the consumption of young people, that that is the message that we're getting, that just because you look a certain way and you have certain characteristics does not mean that you have to conform to the expectations that the people around you are putting on you because of that. And it's just such a huge departure from so many lessons of media in the past, which was you have to follow what society expects of you. You have to get married and live happily ever after and do all this stuff. And I love that this shift is happening, and in like that same message with two similar characters in two things that I've watched recently, and I'm just like, chef's kiss, this is perfect.
mm.
And I want I just want that lesson to reverberate across the world, and that was terrific.
Yes, I agree. It's something that, having been raised in a very conservative state with a lot of religious people, those expectations can be extremely heavy and feel like shackles a lot of the time, which is basically why I just threw them all off. Like, this isn't me. This isn't what I want. This isn't what I believe. This is just not this is not for me. And it upset some people, and that, the thing is that I'm not living for other people. This is my life,
Hmm.
and I need to find what is right for me.
Yeah.
And I managed to do that. I managed to find the life that I wanted to lead, and I am leading it. And so anyone that has a problem with anything I've done in the past to get to this point, that's your problem. I don't mean to sound aggressive in that way, but I am so
No, it's
tired. I'm so tired of adults copying and pasting expectations onto children.
hmm
Stop doing that. Let
absolutely.
children figure out who they are. Let them make mistakes. Let them figure out if they want to be religious or not. Let them figure out what they want to believe, what they like, what they don't like. Let
Hmm.
them be their own person, and that starts at birth. So
Absolutely.
just let them figure it out for themselves and just support them any way you can. That is the best way to be a parent.
Yeah, I couldn't say that better myself. Absolutely. That's perfect. I want to draw some attention to someone who has joined us in the comments.
Oh,
Um, Aaron Waltke, welcome. So thank you so much for joining our humble little Unready Room chat.
um,
Writer for
just,
Star Trek Prodigy.
I don't, I, oh, wow. Oh, okay. Hi. I
Thank
do
you
not
so
know how
much.
to act right
So with regards to this story, he says he helped break the story and write some of the dialogue. This episode was written by the very talented Nikhil Jayaram, and I apologize if I'm not pronouncing that correctly. Um, but wow, thank you so much for joining us. That's so
Yes.
great to have you here. I saw people
I,
talking to him in the comments, and I'm like, oh,
oh,
hello.
I hope this hasn't put you off joining us again sometime. You are most welcome.
Yes, us big kids really, really enjoying this show. So,
Yes, I will never grow up. I will
mhm,
never grow up. That is all there is
absolutely.
to it. And I am going to enjoy everything that Trek has to offer, no matter what the general audience is supposed to be for it. And I think that's the point of Prodigy, is that it wasn't, yes, it was geared more towards children, but there are things for everybody in there, and that is the best kind of Trek that you can have. Is
Absolutely.
something there for everybody.
Yeah, and there's so much in there for, newcomers to Star Trek and us, diehard old timer fans that have been watching it for years as well. So, yeah, uh, yeah, we will always watch and support your little show.
Your
We love
little
it.
show! Your giant show!
It's
It's
so
made by
great.
Rock Talk! I love it! It's amazing! It's everything I could have hoped.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, TJ, I'm 39 and I'm right there with you. Never ever
Uh,
stop watching cartoons.
48, guys. 48 going on 49 this year. Thank you
And
very much.
Wellington's 52 and loving Prodigy. So we've got the spread.
Yes!
We've got the spread.
Loving
Absolutely.
it.
Yeah.
Yes.
So yeah, I mean, big difference between the earlier episode we were talking about and this one, because this one I think is my favorite one of the season so far, which again is really saying something, because this entire season has been so good. Really, I mean, I was expecting to really enjoy Prodigy, but I don't think I was expecting like as much glee to be able to see that show come up every week as I have been. So yeah.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. I said last time that I wasn't going to watch the next episode before we did this show, and I broke my own promise. The minute that I got the screener, I'm like, "Dave, Prodigy screener, get over here!"
I knew you would.
Yeah,
Because I would too.
I was like, no. I mean, there was a second where I thought, oh, I should wait, and then there's the rest of me. It's like, no, now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we'll definitely talk about that one next week, because it's A Moral Star. Is that what it's called? Is that right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
But yeah, before we get there, I guess final thoughts about Time Amok and maybe a rating.
Well, for me, Rock Talk is the star of this episode for sure,
Mm-hmm.
because her journey is the one I think that we can all relate to in one way or another. And it broke my heart. I mean, just even from the beginning where she was upset at being pigeonholed into being the security officer just because she was big. And then like, yep, I cannot tell you how many times I was pigeonholed into a certain thing because they thought that was the only thing that I could do and didn't even bother to explore what,
Mm-hmm.
I was capable of. So I fully get her getting upset. I fully get her being depressed, and the fact that she took matters into her own hands and just decided, "Yeah, I'm gonna do this. I can do this. I'm going to do this." And she just did what was necessary. And honestly, even with getting Janeway back, I figured that she would have done that as soon as possible just because she wanted someone to talk to, if nothing else.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah, I like my solitude, but that doesn't mean I don't wanna ever talk to anyone else ever again.
No.
So, it's, this was a brilliant episode. Made me cry. Maybe I think I cried more the second time because the first time, it's hitting me all at once, and the second time I have time to just stop and watch different things and pay attention to other things in the episode as I'm watching it, and the subtitles do help. And so, it hit me a lot harder in the second episode, and by harder, I mean in the emotional way. It hit me more deeply.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't even think it could hit me more deeply, and then it did. So, I would give this one, giant non-functioning death dreadnought head.
Oh yeah, we didn't really talk about that as well, with Dreadnought getting on board, and yeah,
Yeah.
interesting. That's gonna come back
Uh,
next episode as well.
the minute the vehicle replicators went off, I'm like, "Oh, they're making a dreadnought."
Oh yeah, for sure. The chilling moment too, where he uses Chakotay's voice to delete the Janeway hologram. That was brutal. Very
Yeah.
very Cool. One thing I wanted to say about that too was the fact that, you know, they delete the Janeway hologram, and Rock Talk, I wouldn't say easily brings her back, because like you said, 200 and however many tries. And, you know, the line I think was they never overwrote your memory subroutines in the
The
computer or something like.
buffers, the
Yeah.
memory buffers were still intact.
Yeah. I was like, you know, when Janeway was deleted, I was like, they're gonna bring her back somehow, because
Mhm.
that's Star Trek as well, you know?
Yes.
Like there's the moment in the original series episode of Operation Annihilate where Spock goes
Oh,
blind
yes.
because they've, and then he walks onto the bridge at the end. He's like, "Oh yeah, Vulcans have an inner eyelid and now I can see fine." It's like, "Oh, okay." Or when Worf dies on the operating table after breaking his back, and then suddenly the machines come back to life and he's back alive because, oh yeah, his redundant Klingon systems, I guess, brought him back. That's that's Star
I'm
Trek
so
too. Like that's what they do.
I'm so sorry, because now every time someone brings up that episode, all I can think of is I excretus, and when Tindy is in the simulation of the chief medical doctor, there's,
Yes.
"Give me 500 cc's of any poison!" "It's too late. Call it time of life 0900."
No.
Just I will never
Oh
not I will never be able to disassociate those two things now. Thank you, Lower Decks.
yeah, absolutely. But yeah, like I love this episode. Every moment of this
Mhm.
episode, even those moments where it was like, well, that was convenient. Yeah, that's
Don't
Star
care.
Trek. That's
Yeah.
that's how it works. Those that's a feature, not a bug, in my
Mm,
opinion.
yes, thank you. Thank you. That's an actual feature, not a bug.
hmm So yeah, 10 out of 10 across the board. I'd say 10 out of 10 properly sized dilithium couplers. That's my rating for this episode.
Very nice. Very
Best
nice.
episode of the season so far. And only two left. A moral star, which I'm going to scroll back here because this blew my mind and I did not put this together. Um, I got to find it now. Uh, okay. Uh, Joaquin Slowly, an anagram for Tars Lamora, a moral star.
Mhm.
I did not put that together, and interesting.
Nice. Very
Interesting.
nice. Very nice. Well done.
Yeah,
Huh.
that's
Interesting.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was
Mm.
definitely purposeful. I
Oh,
mean,
yeah,
there's no way
absolutely.
that they did that without knowing.
There are coincidences in Star Trek. That is not one of them.
Yes. Yes.
uh,
Yeah.
oh
Uh,
yeah. So here we go. From one of the writers himself. Memory
mhm.
buffers are from actual computer science, but have been used in Star Trek before. Absolutely. Basically, temporary memory storage that are eventually overwritten. Hollow Janeway got lucky. Yeah, absolutely. That's cool.
Yes. That is nice. It's a really good thing that, Rock's timeline was moving so slowly, so the memory buffers didn't have time to get overwritten.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's good to know. I love it when see, that's the thing, there's so many things in Star Trek that are based on real science, and there's so many things in real science that are kind of based on Star Trek. iPad, anyone? So, it's an ever-giving circle.
Absolutely. Oh, yeah, vacation. Are they going back for her? Man.
I wish so much that I could talk about the next episode, but I can't.
All right. Well,
So,
we better stop it there then because yeah, we
yeah,
all
I
right.
would love to just spill the beans, but then I would never get screeners again, and I like having screeners, even though it's really hard to have that knowledge before everybody else.
Oh man. Well, Brandy, if people want to not contact you about what's coming up in future episodes because you can't tell anybody,
No.
but if they want to talk to you about anything else, where can they do that?
The easiest place to find me is Twitter at Brandywine12, and I spell my name with an I, as you can see from my screen name there. So, I just from day one, I'm like, they better go back for that Cation or I'm gonna be upset. But yeah, that's the easiest place to find out what I'm doing. One thing I'm going to take a quick moment to pimp that has not really anything to do with me. Last week over the weekend, the Trek Geeks Network put on an 8-hour plus telethon for the Hollywood Food Coalition. And that video is still available and will still be available on their YouTube channel for Trek Geeks. They did manage, with Rod Roddenberry matching up to $30,000. They raised $63,000 for the Hollywood Food Coalition. I can't even begin to tell you the amazing panels that they had during that day. Basically, I was mainlining Star Trek panels for most of the day, and
Wow.
it was a beautiful experience. Please check it out. Even if it's a panel you're not interested in, you can skip over it. But you should know that John Billingsley, aka Dr. Phlox, is the president of the board at Hollywood Food Coalition, and David Livingston, who is the director who's directed the most Star Trek episodes out of all directors so far, uh, is also on the board. And it's something that they're both so passionate about. Please take the time to watch the panel, and hey, send a little money their way, because they rely completely on donations for everything that they do.
Absolutely. Yeah. A terrific cause. And they put together a really cool series of interviews and stuff too. So it's really cool.
Oh yes, they're asking me to drop the YouTube link. Let me find it and I will do that.
Oh yeah.
So
And yeah, once I get that, I'll put that in the video description for this video as well. So that's cool.
yeah, because
Absolutely.
it was an amazing experience. And honestly, it started out that it was just going to be a couple hours.
Hmm.
And John was like, "Oh, I'm gonna get my friends, my Trek friends. I'm gonna ask people to come and be on panels and stuff like that." And so they thought, they'd get a few people. 2 hours grew to 3 hours, 4 hours, 6 hours, 8 hours. There were over 60 guests. They all said
Wow.
yes. All of them said yes.
That's
And
amazing.
it was just the most beautiful thing, honestly, to see all these people come together, people that we know and love, people we maybe didn't know as much about as we could have. Um, it was a glorious experience. Okay, let me click on this thingy thing, and then I will have a link for all you all. Ooh, so hang on just a tick here as I copy and paste. Nah. Okay. Oh my gosh, can I even do it? Can I even enter anything? I don't think I can. I'm signed in and everything. Bugger.
Hmm.
Ah. Okay. It's not letting me comment. Here, Dan, I'm going to send it to you in
Jonas,
the private chat. And
I
then
was
if
just
you
gonna
can
say.
share it with everybody, I would
Okay.
appreciate it. There we go. I've shared it with you.
Okay. So
And
yeah, here it is in the comments. You'll see it under Kurtratz Productions in the comments.
yep,
That's
there it
yeah,
is.
absolutely. So yeah, check that out. I'll put that in the video description as well because yeah, very cool. Somebody was saying, DJ Kitty Cat said last I checked it was 77,000. So
Oh, great. Then the
that's
donations
amazing.
have continued. I'm so glad. At the end of
Yeah.
the day on Saturday, because it was probably about 8:30 my time. That was 8.5, actually more than 8.5 hours, because there was a pre-show that started at a quarter to 12. So yeah, it was almost 9 hours of just nonstop content. And I loved that in between each panel, they had interstitial videos from Hollywood Food Coalition members. And of course, Bonita Fredericy, or Bonnie,
Mm,
who's John Billingsley's wife, had her segment as well. It's just, oh, this is the best thing of seeing Star Trek work in real life. It really
yeah.
just is.
So cool. Yeah, well, you can find me on Twitter at Kurtrats. That's Kertrats. And the Positively Trek podcast that I do with Bruce Gibson. Weekly episodes talking about all the week's Star Trek news, including whatever episode or episodes have come out that week, and also fortnightly, because I like that word, a fortnightly Star Trek book club episode. And our most recent one was interviewing Alex White with their Deep Space Nine novel Revenant, newest newcomer to the Star Trek novelists. So we were so happy to have them on the show, and that was a really fun episode. They're really cool. You should definitely check out that interview. And check out the Trek Talks. Follow that link that's in the comments. And like I said, I'll put it in the video description here as well. And until next week, live long and prosper. And we'll be back to talk 2 more weeks of Prodigy, and then it's done for a while.
Until later this year.
Yeah, second half of season 1. Very cool.
Mm-hmm.
All right, bye everyone.